So you need it, but you don't want to give it to me. Guys, it's a brand new episode. I hope you're ready for it. I'm very excited by what's happening today. Cut that music. That's not... Hey, music, stop. Hey, Google, stop. Guys, pretty soon machines are going to take over, and I, for one, am excited about the possibilities. Who knows what it's going to be like to have some sort of an implant inside of your brain, or to be told exactly how much milk you need per bowl of cereal. It's a very exciting time for all of us. You know what I mean? I really want to bring back a change of order in our overlords. So, I can't be the only one here who wishes that our new overlords are robots, not aliens, like a lot of people are predicting, but actual sentient mechanical beings who have learned to become smarter and more advanced simply by over-calculating and taking away the sort of moral conundrums that some of us have to deal with on a daily basis. So, again, that's new overlords for 2021. If you're with me, then send it through electronic mail. Guys, I am excited today. There's a lot of stuff happening in the news, and as always, I try and pick out the least interesting things. I don't know if you know, but R. Kelly got beat up the other day. It's got to be weird to be the unpopular guy in prison. The one where they're like, not him. There goes the neighborhood. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people not being liked right now. Is Chris D'Elia still a thing? Is that still a thing? Guys, really excited about our alien overlords, but even more excited by my friend and guest that I'm going to be having today. She's a really awesome person. She's a brownie, and I can say that because I'm a darkie. She's a really cool person, tons of energy. We're going to give her a lot of love. I just quit drinking, so my energy is real. Ladies and gentlemen, the music that you're hearing is coming out of my headphones, and it should be coming out of what we like to call the living room speaker. So it is super loud in my head. We have a fucking stunning guest to you, a multi-hyphenate, someone who is absolutely awesome, and I can't wait for you guys to see her. She is a writer, she is an actor, she is a dancer, she is a creator, she is everything you ever wanted to be. Ladies and gentlemen, Sujata Day.
Hey!
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
How you doing? I like this song.
Do you know where I got that song from?
No,
What made me think of that song?
I don't know that song.
That is a very, it's brand new from Pharrell and Justin Timberlake. Oddly enough, ironically enough, it's not new. It's old by about 6 or 7 years. But I got it from your Instagram. You have a series that you created called...
Oh, it's the song that we danced to in the grocery store. I was like, I love this song. I can dance to it.
You were like, I'm feeling this. Why? I need to use this for something.
For something.
Something, if I can think of it. My God. Yeah, you're shaking it up. For those that don't know, I mean, there are those that probably know you from Insecure and now will know you from your new movie, Definition Please. If you're like me, you probably thought you started with... there's probably a lot of people that think you made your big break with Awkward Black Girl, and by a lot of people I mean myself. But you have a huge history, including dancing and making your own film. What was even this thing that you created with your buddy here? This sort of dancing short series.
Yeah, it was called Larry and Lucy, and I was thinking of like a modern day Mork and Mindy style show.
Yes.
So that's what I wrote, and it was a 3-episode web series, and Andrew and I met on Awkward Black Girl, Andrew Allen James, and he played the nerd and we both realized that we love to dance, and he's a way better dancer than I am, but I am more of like a cheerleader type dancer. So we just bonded over dance. I thought of this Mork and Mindy type show where he would play a black alien, and yes, of course, who
Yes.
comes down to Earth to heal Earth's problems via dance.
Okay. Okay.
It did not get picked up by any studio.
This is bullshit.
But we made 3 episodes, and then after that we were kind of like, we still love to dance together. So we decided to just start making IG videos. And this was pre-TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Evans, our mutual friend, always says we came up with dance videos before TikTok kind of flew with them.
Yeah. It was really amazing. I don't know that people know that. Now, did you study dance? I read somewhere that you studied different forms of dance. Is that true or no?
What if I'm like, no, nothing you read?
Nothing. I have no idea. I also don't ask you any personal questions in our real life. I have no way of corroborating any of this.
So yes, I started doing Indian classical dancing called Bharatanatyam when I was probably 7 or 8. And I would go to the temple every Sunday and dance Bharatanatyam. And what was cool about it is that I was going to Catholic school at the time, and everything you learn in Catholic school was like, if you don't go to church on Sundays, you're going to hell. And so I would be conflicted in my head about religion because I was a Hindu, and I would come home and be like, oh, like, how do Hindus worship? Why don't we go to the temple every Sunday? And my dad said that my worship was through my dance, which was cool.
How cool is that, your dad?
Yeah, my dad's real cool. So then when I realized that, I was like, this is super cool. I loved Bharatanatyam, and then I started dipping my toes into other dancing, like hip hop, and I started ballet super late, like when I was like 22. And that's not a normal time to start.
No, it's not. That's usually when people quit. Usually by 22, they've got a cigarette and they've stopped doing the moves in rehearsal.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, do it, Annie. Powder beret it up.
Oh my God. You're like Bob Fosse over
Yeah.
Ah, do the splits, honey. That's it.
So I started taking ballet at Valley College, at the community college near me. And they were like, you're great, you're flexible, you're doing great. And I was like, oh my God, I'll take 4 semesters of ballet at this school. And a fun fact about that time period is I also tried out for cheerleading at Valley College, and I made the cheerleading squad post high school, post college.
Nice.
I
like that you. I like that. Can I tell you? I like that you became a dancer and a cheerleader after graduating. You're like, all right, we did that. Like you were probably writing and doing adult shit at 12 and 13.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I want to join color guard. Just see. I'm 30. It's time.
It's time. Yeah. So then I got into dance super late, but I always loved it. And then I found kind of a dance soulmate in Andrew, and then we just started making these videos. And we even talk about it now. We're like, oh, we should go back to making those videos, but we're too lazy to sign up to TikTok or whatever.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I was going to ask, I've had a lot of guests who have had immigrant parents on. That's not a full sentence. I've had a lot of guests on who have had immigrant parents. And it's always interesting because the guests I have on are entertainers. And it's usually, I'm always like, how did your parents deal with the disappointment of you being a successful actor? I'm always like so curious because it's either like they were planning on me being a technician or a doctor. I don't know if you can tell I've had a lot of Asian guests on, but I wound up doing this. How was it like? Like how did your immigrant parents take to your interests in the arts? It seems like your dad was super supportive, at least.
Yeah, so I loved dance and acting, and I was in musicals in middle school through high school and college. And the other part of me was that I was also really good at math and science. So I was in AP Calc. I got to do a special a governor's school program in Pennsylvania for medicine in 10th grade, where you go to Pitt and you stay there for 6 weeks and you're just like learning about being a doctor. And I was able to balance both sides of my brain pretty well. I think in terms of going to university and picking my major, I decided to major in engineering, and that's what I got my degree in. But I was always doing theater and performing in some fashion. So my parents were always very supportive. They would come to the musical every night of the week when it was going up and bring me flowers and take pictures. And I do believe that for my mom, this was something that she always wanted to do herself. So
Interesting. Have you utilized them yet in your work yet? Has that happened yet? Has you put your mom in something or your dad or anything like that?
so my mom is in Definition Please.
Hey!
Yep.
See how I set that up?
That was a good setup. Good.
That was a good setup. For those that don't know, I'm one of the associate producers on your new movie, Definition Please. You want to tell us anything about this movie so far?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you something about, since you asked about it, my mom being in one of the scenes. We were shooting in my hometown, Greensboro, Pennsylvania, in my childhood home where my parents still live. And as we were prepping to shoot, I realized that my parents couldn't be there for like 4 days of it because I was getting too distracted by my parents. And my dad was super supportive, and he'd come down and be like, oh, here's a bunch of restaurants you can get catering from, or just add things to add to the shoot. And I was like, oh, I'm getting too distracted. I got to get my parents out of here. So they went to stay at their friend's house for 4 days. And then when they came back, they came to shoot my mom's scene. And the house had been taken over by cast and crew. And my mom was putting on her fancy sari for the scene. And she was asking me which sari she should wear. And she was in the hair and makeup chair, and she's just like a natural diva. She was like, oh, like, is this lipstick good? Or, which one do you like? And our hair and makeup girl, Vivi, was just loving every second of it. And my mom naturally stays up really late. She stays up until like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. every morning watching Bengali soap operas all night. So it was a full night shoot when we wrapped at 4 a.m., but she was the life of the party, and she was the life of the shoot, where she would make everyone laugh in between takes, but yes, she wasn't distracting during the scene, and she was a good actress. She wasn't like looking at the camera or anything crazy. Yeah. So she has like a pretty big cameo moment in the movie, which is really fun for her. And I even wanted my dad to be in it, and I asked him, and he was like, no. And then he like went back to the hotel so that he could be by himself and and not deal with all the craziness of the shoot at the house. But it was really fun having my mom be in one of the scenes of the movie.
He's like, I so don't want to be in your movie that I'm going back to the hotel to watch Three's Company.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, namaskar to your mom.
That's very good.
I tried. I tried to learn a little bit more about the guests, and I learned that you speak Bengali.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said it in Bengali, which was really nice.
Yeah, I know, because your Hindu background. You see that?
Because some people say, like, we don't say namaste, we say namaskar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned more about your heritage today than in the years of knowing you. I've asked you 0 questions about your personal life.
I feel like in our blurred group, we don't know much about people's
No.
first.
No, we try and stay away. That's what's good about our group. We try and stay away from asking anything personal, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's good. It's good.
It's perfect. What was the inspiration behind Definition, please? What made you create this? Because you're the writer, the director, the star. Is it just feels like were there too many? Why did you do it? Why?
I'm gonna take it way back to fourth grade, and I was in my spelling bee, my class spelling bee, and I won my fourth grade spelling bee. But then I went to regionals and I lost out in the first round on the word radish. I spelled it with 2 D's instead of 1. And then I got back to school and all my friends were clowning me for missing out on a fairly easy word, which, you know what, I accepted the clowning because I was like, yeah, that was an easy word. So ever since then, I've been into the spelling bee, especially watching it on ESPN and recognizing that almost every year it's a South Asian American winner. Even last year when we were on set, there were 8 winners and 7 of the 8 were Indian American. So that's where my fascination with spelling bees started. But then in 2015, I was in a UCB sketch writing class and I decided to write a sketch with the theme, "Where are they now, spelling bee winners?" Isn't that hilarious? It's hilarious. So if you Google the spelling bee winners, they're all doing really exceptional stuff. Like they're biophysicists at NASA, or they're winning on the World Poker Tour, or I'm sure a bunch of them are looking for the COVID vaccine right now. So that little sketch, the button of the sketch was like, oh, here are all the winning people who are doing great things, but then there's one spelling bee winner that turns out to be a total loser and like still lives at home in the basement and is doing nothing with her life. So then in 2017, I went to Sundance and was inspired by my friend Justin Chan's film Gook, who he just like went out there, made it himself, collected the money. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. And that's when I started writing Definition, Please, which was based on that little 4-page sketch. But then I decided to also answer the questions. Okay, so this spelling bee winner is a loser, but what made her a loser? What are those reasons? And I decided to answer that with her relationships in her family, especially her estranged relationship with her brother.
Now, and which I found really interesting. What is the name of the actor in that?
Ritesh Rajan. He plays Sunny.
Yeah, where did you find him?
So he's a friend of mine. You know, all the Indians in Hollywood know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, way to really break stereotype by just writing about an Indian who went to spelling bee, but then fails. I think that's really
yeah. So I kind of took that model minority, label, and I just like subvert that.
Now, what is the model minority thing?
So the model minority thing is something that technically I am, because I graduated with an engineering degree, started making good money working at Accenture, a consulting firm. But there are a lot of Indian Americans / Asian Americans that don't fall into the model minority category, and they're just like normal people. So what I was interested in was writing about normal people. And I feel like white people get the chance to do that all the time. And we as POCs, whenever we're pitching a project or something, it has to be exceptional, or it has to deal with our culture specifically and the conflict within our culture. And I just wanted to write about brown people who were totally normal.
And I love that. You definitely break stereotypes and archetypes. You have, speaking of the amazing Asian gentleman you have in this, you have Jake Choi, who's in your movie.
Yeah.
I love this. Jake Choi, who was in Fault in Our Stars with Charles Melton. You have Alexander Hodge, who was on Insecure. All these super hot Asian men. Were they always there, or is it a new occurrence like white women with fat asses?
Hot Asian men
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But for some reason, they are not cast in these really sexy love interest roles. And that was really important to me in terms of breaking stereotype. And a lot of women have reached out to me saying they are so thankful for all the fantastic eye candy in my trailer. And I definitely meant to do that.
Yes, you purposefully had hot Asians in your movie. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Um, it's interesting. Did you feel like, so you talk about a lot about, or we've talked a lot about, sort of breaking stereotypes and identities and just trying to be normal. I feel like a lot of artists of color really have to define themselves as artists of color in some way, shape, or form when they enter this business. Otherwise, that identity will be shaped for them in a lot of ways. Do you feel that pressure? Is that something that you feel like you've always thought about as an artist, or felt a need to find when you were creating?
I don't think I ever felt pressure because I write only when I'm inspired to write. So if someone is making me write something that I don't want to do, that's actually never going to happen. And and I write for fun, and I love everything I write, and the culture seeps in because that's just who I am and that's just what I know. And I always want to be authentic to my characters. And something that was really fun to go into in terms of definition, please, is when Hollywood tends to write Indian Americans, they tend to see Indian Americans as a monolith and don't realize that Punjabis are different than Gujaratis, are different than Bengalis, are different than South Indians. And it was really fun for me to write specifically as a Bengali American. And one of our mutual friends, Parvesh China,
Yeah.
when he has this amazingly funny cameo in the film, when he read the script, he called me up and said, I learned so much about Bengalis through reading your script, which was super cool because I think that's how we make films that are universal to everyone's, when we're really, really specific about what we're writing about. And then people can be like, oh my gosh, that also happens in my family, but this family is Bengali, and how crazy and mind blown. And now I'm not going to vote for Trump.
Hopefully it's a straight line. Hopefully it's a straight line like that.
That's it.
Made my voting choices based off of this indie comedy.
Yes.
Speaking of defying expectations, what's interesting is how much interest you have in fantasy, and role playing and D&D. Tell me about that. I think you actually have created more than one show, or been a part of more than one shows that were like D&D based. And I think you do cosplaying. You always have these interesting Halloween things. What is this fascination? you always do. What is this? I have cowboys and Indians here. I have you in the guild. You're in Guts and Glory.
That's glory, girl.
Girls Guts Glory. What was that? Because that was an actual D&D thing, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
What was that?
So that was my friend Kim Hidalgo came up with this really actually genius idea where she went to 6 of her friends and said, hey, there is no group where it's just a bunch of girls playing D&D, and why don't we dress up? We're all actors, so why don't we dress up as these characters and take on these characters and film it? And there were 2 of the 6, I believe, who had actually played D&D before. The rest of us had not. And I was part of that group that had not played it before. So we took 6 to 8 months to actually meet once a week to learn how to play the game, to develop our character. And for me, I was really excited. My character was Ichabod Fern Dweller, and he talks like this, and he has a really bad accent, and he's a lover, not a fighter. And he was just this crazy guy, where I was the guy on the team that would hit on all the hot girls during our adventure. And that was really freeing for me. I loved that. And so we put out 10 episodes on YouTube, and it caught the eye of Dungeons and Dragons, and they decided to sponsor us to make season 2. And so we were official. They flew us to Seattle for a tournament and got to meet Joe Manganiello, which was really cool. Yeah. And then we went to Twitch and continued filming, and I kept with my character because I love my character so much. And yeah, we did that for like 2 or 3 years. It was great. Another thing about role playing and Dungeons and Dragons was that it's such an extension of acting, where you're improvising what your character is doing in the moment, you're in character, you're doing the voice. We would dress up like hardcore. Like my hair became part of my beard, and then I would take like an eye pencil and put like a mustache on. But the funny part is, like, the beard would always start sliding down.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen pictures. They're really uncomfortable. There's a lot of pictures on the internet of you and mustaches, and you think it's all from the same thing, and it's not.
It's not. I enjoy dressing up like a boy.
You do. And you know what? Here's this is perfect because you're just in time for our favorite new game here on Going Live with Malcolm. So you're actually one of my favorite nerds who knows the least about nerd stuff.
I know nothing about nerd stuff, and I will admit it.
It's great. I love that about you. So I've created a game called 5 Easy Questions.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to any of these.
These are super easy questions that you'll definitely know, and there's no possible way you won't know them. Okay?
Oh, dear Lord. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna say right out that I'm not gonna know the answers to these questions.
I'm not gonna make you look bad. You're gonna do fine. You ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Super easy. Batman is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics in the year 1939 by Bob Kane. He first appeared in Detective Comics number 27. Where does Batman live?
Gotham City.
Bam! There we go!
I did it!
You did it!
I did it!
It's not hard at all.
You guys are rubbing off on me.
Okay, this is really, well, it's public knowledge. But okay, so here we go. So the Incredible Hulk is it's a Marvel character who has existed in the universe for years. He is both in comic book and many forms. He's been played by Mark Ruffalo, by Ed Norton, by Eric Bana. But what is the Incredible Hulk's real name in the comics?
Is it Bruce Banner?
Yes, it is!
Wait, how do I know that?
How do you fucking know? Again, public knowledge, but yes!
Whoa! I'm actually really impressed with myself right now.
You're doing really good. You're doing really good. I told you I'm going to make you look good. Okay, here we go.
I just want to make my blurs proud.
I know you do. In the 1985 film Back to the Future, the DeLorean is the name of the model of car used by the character Marty McFly to go back into the future. What is the name of Marty McFly's best friend who is a scientist? Whose last name is
I know it's Christopher Lloyd.
Sure, played by Christopher Lloyd, with striking white hair, and who would constantly proclaim, "Great Scott."
Marty McFly.
He was a scientist.
Wait, I know it's Christopher Lloyd, but I forget the character's name.
Well, that's part of the contest, is the character's name.
Wait.
He was a scientist. One form of science is to be a doctor.
Great Scott.
Yes.
Marty.
And he was a scientist, not a lawyer, so he didn't study Brown versus the Board of Education or anything like that.
Oof. Marty McFly and I don't know. I have to give up.
Doc Brown.
Oh!
Doc Brown.
I don't think that would have come to me.
That's okay. That's okay. That was really, you got 2 out of 3. This is really, you're doing really good.
I got the actor's name.
You did. You got the actor's name. We got one more, okay? And this one's, again, super easy. You'll be able to get this, okay? We all know Superman's pseudonym on Earth is Clark Kent, and that his Kryptonian name is Kal-El. In the movie Superman with Christopher Reeves, what is the name of the actor who played his father, who is a famous actor from On the Waterfront?
Marlon Brando?
Yes!
Yes! I only know that because I know he's in On the Waterfront.
Clearly that is the reason.
I did okay.
You did not bad. These were the easiest questions I could come up with. And you nailed a majority of them.
Yeah.
That's really good.
75%. I got a C.
That's great. That's excellent.
Great.
Horrible by immigrant standards, but for Americans in general, excellent.
Exactly. Very average.
Excellent. I'll be right back. You're now in time for the other part of our game. 1 minute of silence. It's up to you. It's not silence. It's you just, the camera's for you and you can do what you want.
Oh. I'll do Q&A. Anybody have any questions for me? No questions? This is only my second IG Live. In my first IG Live, my camera was blurry, so it was an epic fail on my part. I was not aware that my internet was down. But Jay Lee!
Because that's who I am.
Jay Lee!
I don't have to take this.
A D&D Insecure show. I have no input into Insecure whatsoever. But that is a great idea. That's a really good idea.
That works perfectly into our next segment.
First movie.
Yeah, what's that question? Let's do that.
That's an interesting question because I remember the first musical I ever saw, which was Annie on Broadway. But I don't super remember the first movie I ever saw. It must have been something Disney.
Well, there we go. There we go. Something Disney.
Something Disney.
Something Disney.
I actually, you know why I don't remember? Can I tell you why?
Yes, you can.
English is not my first language. So I learned English from Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow.
Oh!
And so...
Did Levar Burton help you learn English?
Yes!
Have you ever told him that?
I don't think I ever told him.
Well, I wouldn't. It seems embarrassing.
So
I'll play it in a loop in the chat, though.
So a lot of the first media content that I saw, I don't super remember because I didn't understand it. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I remember Annie really well, because it was more about the singing and the dancing on stage than about what the story was.
This is slightly different, but I had my friend Ivan, who I grew up with, but he grew up in Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia, right? Which are all fighting each other. It's a really lovely story. But we were really good friends in high school, but we would have little disconnects because I'd bring up Fraggle Rock, and trying to explain Fraggle Rock to someone who'd never heard of it, you sound like an insane person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're having a freak. You're like, no. They lived underground, and then there was Sprocket, but then they had these little guys that would make buildings, but they would eat the buildings. And so I really don't understand how they ever made anything. I start to think about it. But anyway, it was a great show. Fraggle Rock.
You just sounded really insane describing that to me right now.
it sounds preposterous, and I have a good handle on what the show was.
Yeah.
So moving from, so you have no say in Insecure. You don't write on Insecure, but you were acting in that. What was that leap from when you learned that Awkward Black Girl was turning into Insecure?
So that was right after season 2. I believe that it was like our season 2 wrap party, and we found out that Issa had signed a deal with HBO, and we were all super excited. But we didn't realize how long things take to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So after that public announcement, it was 3 years later when the pilot was shot.
Oh, wow.
So within those 3 years, Issa was working with Larry Wilmore to write the pilot and kept turning in drafts and kept getting notes back from HBO. And so it was 3 years later when Issa texted me and said, hey, there's a small role for you in the pilot, and it should get bigger as the series goes on. Do you want it? And, you know, I said, I had to think about that. No, I didn't have to think about it. I said yes instantly. And honestly, like, going to set, from going to her dad's doctor's office in Inglewood during Awkward Black Girl to a huge HBO set on the beach, it blew my mind. And I did get emotional that day. And we were working with the kids, and the kids were coming off the school bus during the scene, and my eyes were starting to tear up and well up, because I was like, oh my God, how far we've come since the days of no pay doing Awkward Black Girl. And one of the young girls looked up at me and was like, are you crying? And I was like, no, it's just like, it's allergies.
Just shaming you.
She shamed me so bad.
Shaming you.
Just super shaming me. But you know what? I was feeling emotional. And to go from, you know, a tiny little web series to an HBO set was really obviously inspiring to be a part of that entire journey, from nothing to today having Emmy nominations. And that was a big reason why I made Definition Please, because I'm constantly in awe and inspired by Issa and my other friends who are creating no matter what. Even if others say no to them, they just find a way to make the content and put it out there.
More importantly than all of that, what are these Issa Rae boat parties like? That's what I want to know. I want to go to these boat parties.
You know, I always like show up to Blurred Brunch after the boat parties, and I'm like,
we're all like, what the hell happened? What's with these boat parties? I don't go to any of this cool black shit.
It's so cool. Well, we should have our own boat parties.
That sounds like I'm not going to go to this other pool party. That's what that sounds like. We should throw our own thing in your house. Just you. You'll dig it.
Yeah, it'll be real fun. We'll get it catered.
Buy snacks, whatever you want, man. It's all you. Are you very popular in the black community now? Like, are black guys in your DMs? Like, how smooth is it when you go through airport security now that you're in favor with black people? I feel like that's who's running airport security, by the way, if you don't know. It's black people who watch Insecure.
Hilarious. I mean, I don't feel anything different. I think I got stalked a lot more by black people during the Awkward Black Girl days.
Oh, yeah?
So, I mean, I just love, I'm continuously inspired by Black Hollywood and how everyone supports each other. And it's a good insight to take to my Asian American / Indian American community, which says we all have to bond together and not compete, and we need to support each other's projects, because I see that happening with Ava supporting Barry, supporting Issa. And so I think that's something that I've taken away from all of that.
It's beautiful. Speaking of doing exactly that, you're working on another project that you produced, created called This Is My Story. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, This Is My Story was born out of our infamous blurred brunches.
Mm-hmm.
hmm And one of our brunchers is Levar Burton, who apparently I remember the story of him joining the group differently than.
This is okay. This is great for those that don't know. Sometimes there's a bunch of us, a couple black and brown people. We have little brunches and hang out together, and different interesting individuals are there.
I think the way I remember it was like LeVar saw a really cool group of like brown and black people and came over and was like, "What's up, y'all?" And that's definitely not what happened.
No, that's not what happened at all. He knew people because
Well, Yvette went and like got him.
yes,
Walked
yes,
by,
yes.
Yvette went and got him and introduced him to us.
Yes.
And that's the real story. So don't listen to my story.
I love your version where he just saw how fucking cool we were and was just like, I gotta be a part of this. I've done a lot of things in my life, but this I need now. I love
Right?
that. So you're working on This Is My Story, inspired by the Bird Group. You're working with LeVar Burton. What is the content? What is the show?
So we would get together. So me, LeVar, and Dan, we'd get together, and LeVar said, "I want to do something about race in America. Not super sure what I want to do, but so we would brainstorm what this little series would be about, and we decided that it would be about everyday people, everyday experiences of racism. So it wouldn't be something huge or newsworthy, but every day we go through microaggressions and things that happen at work, or people get stopped by the cops, and we just collected stories from our blurred group, and everybody had multiple stories. We used one of yours, which was great, and we used one of Lamont's, and we shot this series of 6 episodes, starting with LeVar's cop story from being at USC to ending with Dan's story at the ice cream store. And we just shot these really simple stories with LeVar telling the stories, and it is really interesting how a story can be changed by the storyteller, and how much gravitas LeVar brought to the story and how much emotion he brought to it. And then we released the episodes on YouTube in January, and a lot of people were talking about them. And then after, when the Black Lives Matter gained traction this summer, we re-released them, and then a lot of people were commenting on them, and it was good, because it's one of those things where a lot of white people don't understand that these transgressions happen to us every day or multiple times a day, and that we are always constantly dealing with that, especially Black people are. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of a project where it brings to light just smaller transgressions, all the way up through serious transgressions that just need to be understood by more people than just us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super powerful. I was very fortunate. One of my stories got used, but it's also interesting that you said that, because I couldn't even tell you what the story was. When you mentioned the thing of like, we all have like these multiple stories of things that happen, I'm like, I don't even know what fucking racist story I told you. I'm like, could have been any year, any time. I have no fucking clue. And it is also an amazing thing to have LeVar Burton say these words, this, sort of childhood hero to America in a million different forms, convey this message of, this ubiquitous experience. What are your plans for that show from here on?
Yeah, we're working on season 2, so we're prepping. I was actually working on editing stories that have been submitted all weekend, and we are coming out with we're shooting. There's Dan.
There's Dan. There's a lot of people in here. There's Nick in here. There's Vinny Chibbers in here. My mom, by the way, said she was inspired to become a hip hop dancer now as a senior citizen based off of your story of becoming a.
She's got to take those classes. Go to the community college. Take a semester. Yeah. So so we're working on season 2. We're really excited, and hopefully, I think we're gonna add a bit of animation to the stories in between Levar telling them, and we're just gonna, step it up, take it to the next level.
I'm really excited to see these sort of colorized animated versions of racism. I think it's gonna be really good. No, I'm seriously excited. I'm so happy you're doing this. I think it's a wonderful thing, and it's funny. There's all these projects that seem prescient to people, and it's like these have been concerns of folks all the time, and it's beautiful to see you take the mic here. What do you think is the sort of next step for you? Are you getting a lot of interviews now? Has life changed? Are non-colored people interviewing you? How is life going?
So when you say non-colored, do you mean white people?
I guess I do. I guess I do.
Well, right now I had a pretty productive quarantine. I wrote a pilot. I wrote my second feature, and I am attaching actors to the feature as we speak.
I'll call you. I'll call you about
yeah. Just like
I'll call you. You don't have to answer here. Yeah, you don't have to answer here.
Yeah. So
yeah, we can talk about it.
But I'm around. I'm free. Oddly enough, free time on my hands right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just text you about it.
Exactly. So as soon as we get out of COVID, I just want to start shooting right away and get into that stuff. I wouldn't say my phone has been ringing off the hook because that hasn't been happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's slow right now. Everyone's trying not to get a disease.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think the only thing I can do, and the only thing that...
Guys, play the new game, Don't Catch This Disease.
Don't catch the disease.
Hitting America like a pandemic. It's called Don't Catch the Disease. We're hoping not to catch it. I hope you're one of the lucky winners of people not catching the disease.
We'll see you next week.
Don't catch the disease.
Sponsored by hydroxychloroquine. What are your 5 things? We're nearing the end of this show, and I like to end it with really awkward things. What I want to know is, you're in quarantine. What are your 5 things right now? What are the 5 things that are making you happy from any genre of anything whatsoever? It could be tangible, intangible, memories, movies, taking walks, the people you're around, drawing, anything. Watching Blues Brothers. That's just me. What are the 5? Name 5 things off the top of your head. It's not important. 5 things that are making quarantine dope for you. That makes the dope part of your quarantine.
Number 1, the pot of chai that I make every morning and I drink throughout the day, which I have been drinking during this interview. Number 2 would be the walks that I take in the Studio City Hills, where all the big houses are, and every single family has left, so I am trying to figure out which house to loot.
Makes sense.
2, yeah.
Makes
And then
sense.
number 3, I've been using our apartment pool a lot, so I've been swimming, and that's been fun. I don't usually go into the pool, but it's been a hot summer, so I've been swimming. It's number 3. Number 4 would be catching up on old shows and movies that people have always told me that I need to watch, aka you guys.
It's just you looking. It's just you watching Incredible Hulk. Like, is this what they were talking about?
And so I've been watching classic films and TV like The Wire and Sopranos, which you're on.
I am on there.
Sopranos, Twin Peaks.
I get shot in the nuts. Guys, catch me younger and getting shot in the nuts.
Yeah.
In your favorite episode of Sopranos.
And then number 5, reading books. Right now I'm reading an amazing book called The Vanishing Half that I'm renting from the library. So that's been really exciting just to have free time to read for fun. That was 5.
Nerd. And then my final question, you've been an amazing guest here, is where do we go from here?
Whew. Well, we got to get out of quarantine, get out of COVID. I would say vote. That's where we go from here. We got to vote. We got to send in our ballots. We got to get this psycho out of the White House.
We got to get the fuck out of here, dude. Do you remember your dance from that episode of
Not at all.
Do you not remember it at all?
I don't remember it at all.
I 100% wish you did. I was like, I wish you could choreograph for me. I was like,
Andrew was the choreographer for everything, and he would choreograph it, tape himself doing it, and then send it to me so that I could practice for 2 to 3 days before we actually shot it, because I can't pick up dance like that.
It's a joy. Guys, go see that. Please go see. What was the name of that series?
Larry and Lucy.
Please go see that. That shit is funny. You just go to her Instagram. In fact, where can we find you? What's the next big shit? When is Definition Please hitting the next wherever thing? Tell me everything that we need to know to follow you to learn about who Sujata Day is.
Sujata Day, at Sujata Day, on Instagram and Twitter, and also Facebook. And Definition Please, the next film festival is Asian Cinevision in New York. And we're geo-blocking all the festivals. So if you live in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, you should be able to buy a ticket to Cinevision, Asian Cinevision, to watch it. And yeah, we're doing, I believe, at least 6 film festivals in October. So keep your eye out for one in your neighborhood. Virtually, of course. I don't want anybody to go to a theater and risk coronavirus for my movie.
Guys, go out to a theater and see Definition Please immediately. Get all of your friends together, huge groups. Go out, make sure that turn the air conditioning, just the fan. Just go inside a theater, put a fan on either side of you and 38 people, and watch the movie. I think that's what she's trying to say. Share it, guys, spit into each other's mouths. Whatever you can do to support Definition Please, do that.
Take your socks off, put your feet on the chairs, and
Guys, if you can, please take some of that chewing gum on the bottom of the chair and chew it up. Just go to town on it. We only get one life. My guest today has been Sujata Day. She is amazing. She's awesome. Writer, director. Any last words?
that's it. Have a great quarantine.
Have a great quarantine. Bye, love. You press the button so that I can still look cool.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Huh? That's a show. That's a whole show. Guys, that was relatively easy. It was pretty simple. Nothing crazy went down. That was really nice. Sujata Day is an amazing person. I hope you guys see Definition Please and get a chance to. Our boy Eugene Bird is in there. I think Levar Burton may be in there as well. What's up, Favo? I'm a producer on there. Guys, you should know that I'm a producer, okay? I can't just get swanky guests like this out of nothing, okay? I'm fucking producing the shit out of this, okay? All right? I just want that first and foremost known. Guys, next week my guest will be Lamorne Morris. You'll know him as the guy some people think is me. And I'm known as the guy some people think is him. We're very excited to dispel the rumors and the myths You can tell the difference if you look at her bank accounts. If you couldn't tell just by sight, just look in his wallet. He's going to be on the new show Woke, which I think premieres tomorrow. If you're watching today, Lamorne's going to be on there, created by Marshall Todd, who wrote Barbershop. I think it's going to be a fun show. We've got a lot of fun guests coming up. Lamorne's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I think it's going to be another wild and crazy show. Thank you to whoever came on. Yes, Hulu. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Sean. Hulu. It's going to be on Hulu tomorrow, debuting. Definition, please. Look out for it. Sujata Day, look out for her. She's fucking amazing. Guys, you know how I'm feeling? Okay. This ain't about nothing. Or is it?
In a white wife beater and a white two-seater, and I'm oh so cold I should carry 2 heaters. Game so bananas that you call it Chiquita, and my chick so Morena I should probably call her Rita. Rolling up some reefer, acting local with my Vita, in a city with a bitty apple bomb like Bonita. To you aliens, I'm as foreign as English is. I'm so on fire that shit retire extinguishes. I'm on my rap clothes trying to fashion a rhyme. This is sex with no love, I'm just passing the time. She came and bent. You say you want it, but you don't want to give it to me. You say you need it, but you don't want to give it to me. You say you want it, but you don't want to give it to me. You say you need it, but you